And we are here with Sweet 16 of Grindhouse Scrims. I am your host for this set of matches, Def Goromajima Jukis. We have Despair versus Vertigo, and we have Autumn here on the Singularity. So, we have DDS Singularity. This is pretty much a 4K expected set. A lot of macro involved, but as you can see here, we have a first chase immediately starting with Cheesy Casserole. My goat is gonna be turning into goat cheese pretty soon, it looks like. Unfortunately for the Singularity, it looks like Cheesy Casserole understands the concept of the ball and chain tech with Singularity's power. What the survivor has to do is look one direction and manipulate the Singularity to teleport the other way. So it's a pretty mean sort of tech, but it helps zone the Singularity on the right side. A pallet break is still a pallet break after all. We have Autumn here going to main building, taking the chase here to Jojo El Gorilla. So we have a bit of a glitch happening here, I think, with the filters, which is that the Singularity teleport is causing a visual glitch. Jojo is here taking the chase over to desert away from where Cheesy Casserole is. As you can see, there are 3 people who have been bipoded. And Jojo goes down here in desert inside Corrupt, which is not the worst thing in the world, actually, because now those gens could not have been worked on. There should be no one there actively working on a gen. So Cheesy Casserole got reset. We have Autumn hooking right here, and it looks like we do have a pain res. So again, DDS Singularity. Bipods, bipods, bipods. As you can see, knowing where to put the bipods is everything, and to know the angles on every portion of the map is crucial, is what makes Singularity so hard to face on this map. Old Singularity was difficult on this map, but new Singularity is an absolute beast. As we have Autumn here checking all the cameras, making sure there's nobody going in for this yet, but realizing that there has to be some work on the gens right here. Now, the gen being so close here, personally, I don't know if I would agree with that, because I think that Autumn might have been better to take a tag on the serve, but that's the fun part here about Singularity, is that Singularity can literally just get across the entire map. And now Autumn's gamble to put Eruption on the gen looks like it's going to pay off, as we have Jojo here getting tunneled out. And let's see if Jojo can stop the down from happening, and Autumn losing the mind game there. But it looks like here comes the hit take here from Cheesy Casserole. And there is the gen. So that, that eruption play did not pan out, but Jojo knows Jojo's angles. And Jojo's chilling here as Jojo goes to town. And again, Autumn is trying to play the mind game here. And, you know, Jojo's a really good survivor player. Jojo knows the check spots. Jojo knows the mind game. Jojo knows how to loop. And it becomes difficult when a player has to face someone who has as many tools in the arsenal as Jojo has. The way Jojo loops, as I've scrimmed Jojo before, is that Jojo will switch up the mind games on you every so often and not play the same tile the same way. So it makes it very difficult. And now we have here possibly gen being completed, but it looks like here that Eruption and Pain Res aren't really panning out for Autumn right now. Maybe Pop would have been a better decision, but now we have 3 active gens at the moment. We have another one who's just got tagged with the biopod. And it's looking like Autumn is going to be content to play around right here, but also force them off of the gens by doing this sort of feathering of the camera maneuver. So now Autumn knows where everybody is. So Junior is the other player for Vertigo, who's also a really good survivor player as well. But we also have Rose here, so I'm going to go in for the save here. And I don't know if that was a miscomm or if it was agreed here or the decision was made to try and spare some time. I'm not sure. Now, as we can see, Autumn is happy to play with the cameras like it's Five Nights at Freddy's, coming soon to DVD. Now Autumn is going to go back over to town and finally get to that gen here at main, and that extra haste is going to actually give him the down and a kill here. See, now the EMP got hit, but Junior is working which gen, and Rose has a perfect spot. So the spot that Vertigo was in, all the pressure just got lost. Autumn is absolutely cleaning up here. You have 2 slug. Autumn has to go look for Junior, and it looks like this is going to be at least be a 4K3. It's an extremely rough spot for Vertigo. But, you know, unfortunately, it looks like the miscomm there at some point occurred. And it becomes really difficult with Singularity now because of the haste, because of all these things. And unfortunately, they just have not had an opportunity to capitalize on the mistakes here. Because Autumn hasn't really made that many mistakes. Autumn has played this pretty well, be it maybe losing a couple mind games, but that's what makes macro so deadly compared to micro. And it's absolutely what carries a Singularity player. Singularity is a killer that relies heavily on macro for the power. And what that does, that it makes a team that has like micro almost beatable in every way, shape, or form. With macro, as you can see here, Autumn was able to 2 slug, despite losing mind games to Junior, Jojo, and even Cheesy Casserole. The only serve left on the ground right now is Rose, and now we have another gen that got done, so props to Vertigo for fighting through, because this could be a massive result. The difference between a 4K4, 4K5, and 4K3 seems negligible, but it's actually a massive difference when trying to fight for the last gens for a win con. So now Autumn has to figure out and think about either going to look for Rose or trying to go after the 2 injured people. And unironically, I think Live Wires could have helped out here. But I'm also trolling with that because Live Wires is not a good add-on. So, Junior and Cheesy are probably happy to go work a gen right now. No, they actually just did the full comp reset. So now they're somewhere in the map. And the only active gens that we have here are over at town area. Autumn is going to go ahead and put camera right here, water tower. Now, we'll have to see how the rest of this match plays out, but it looks like we might have a bleed out on Rose, and that might be the comm that Junior and Cheesy are giving to Rose, which is not yet found. And now, perfect timing on the camera here, but Cheesy Casserole playing that 50-50 with so much fucking finesse there. Excuse my language on that, by the way. I'm just in awe of whenever someone wins a 50-50. So now here Rose got picked up, Cheesy took a tag, the water tower gen was being worked on, and now I'm imagining that Desert is going to be worked on, either that or Gallows. But there's Rose over there with Junior, going to go ahead and give Rose that old meatball on the back and give Rose the good old Singularity back shot. So now, that pain res is going to come in clutch, and I think this is looking back to be a 4K3. For a bit, it felt like it was going to be a 4K2. But never underestimate the power of Cheesy Casserole. But also never underestimate the power of Autumn Singu. So there's going to be an interesting rest of the match. Although not a lot of gens are getting done and not a lot of chases are happening, this sort of macro is actually very fun to watch for people who play the killer. Or who have played the killer, I should say. Autumn is going to go ahead and put in more meatballs in town, but you can hear that gen being worked on right there. So now the big question is to everybody here in the chat, is that what is Water Tower? Is Water Tower 5 or is Water Tower 8? Rose is going to go and get tunneled, it looks like. But Rose is going to be running straight to main and go put their cards on the table with the Autumn there in the poker table room. The Junior not getting rid of the meatball could be a little bit detrimental to the concept of fighting to get these gens done. But Cheesy Casserole is trying to make this a 4K2. Absolutely fighting for their lives in this match. And just a second ago, it looked like it was a foregone conclusion for a 4K4. Now, Autumn is given that gen the triple love tap to make sure that Eruption is applied. So we are looking very well at a 4K2. And Cheesy Casserole, it looks like, is about to get found right here. But maybe breaking that pallet earlier could have been the play. But Cheesy Casserole dropping the pallet, or Autumn getting the pallet dropped right there. And here comes JoJo, excuse me, not JoJo, Junior greeting for the pallet. Winning the 50-50 with the Any Means tech. If there's anything that can be said about Vertigo, is that they do definitely do their best at recovering from these types of mistakes. Their recovery in this has been immaculate. Rose being the only survivor that's here. Cheesy Casserole playing this perfectly, but still losing because of a possible split-second ping differential. But now Rose has to go and pick up Cheesy Casserole and Junior from the ground, and it doesn't look like it's going to be happening. Rose is still here, but ignores the pallet. Is going to go play the window. Now Rose is going to take that and go to the top side of DD. So here we do call Water Tower 5. But now again, picking up the slugs here is that for some reason it seems like Autumn can get people down, but trying to go for the massive slug play is costing them lots of pressure here. It made me wonder that maybe it would have been better to start hooking people and just go for those stages. And I think that Autumn heard my voice through telepathy, and now we have a hook happening. I believe this is going to be a pain res. And it is, and you can hear that noise letting us know that the gen is going to stop being regressed. Oh, with the warning, more like it. I apologize, but it looks like Junior timed that EMP perfectly, so Autumn can't do anything with it. But as you can see here, Cheesy Casserole going to BBU, but unfortunately, someone needs to give Cheesy Casserole a BBL after that, because not wide enough. Now we have, it looks like, you're working the gen over in Desert, with Cheesy Casserole still pressuring that gen in town. And I don't know if the play is to let Rose bleed out. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if Rose has been hooked, and right on cue, I think Autumn is realizing that, but I think Autumn is also happy to, ready to let them bleed out. So I believe so far we only have 3 freshes. And it's going to go ahead and look like it's going to be a 3 fresh, 2 gens done. So this means that, oh, she was hooked. Ah. Full points rewarded for her. I apologize, team. Regardless, full points have been awarded. I apologize. It is a 4 fresh game so far. It's looking like it's gonna be a 4K at 3 gens. Yes, Retrocity 77. I'm extremely cooked today. I've been in the kitchen the whole day. Yes, I was extremely focused on Cheesy Casserole's potential BBL. BBL, BBU. Anyways, but Singularity is one of the most macro heavy sets in the game still, and despite having the greater chase potential, it's still going to be macro heavy until the cows come home. Because we are in the Wild West after all, and the cows do need to come home. So I'm just going to go and confirm the stage on Junior, check on the gens, make sure that Cheesy Casserole is not stealthing. And Rose's body there inside Shack, looking like an accessory. And I think right now We found our goat cheesy casserole. It looks like we're having lasagna for tonight, boys. Cheesy casserole looping over the dead body of Rose here. And if Junior lets go on hook, it's going to be a very close one here. But Cheesy Casserole has to loop this pallet perfectly. And you know what? That's fair. Very good effort. Very good job. Good recovery from everybody. They made it entertaining, even to the very end. It makes you just wonder, can Despair match this result and actually improve on it? We're about to find out right after this break. And part 2 of this matchup with the Singularity, we have Vertigo on the killer against Despair. So, win con is pretty simple. Get 3 gens done. The last result was a 4K3 that flirted with being a 4K4. Autumn did a fantastic job of making sure that there was pressure all around, but we have Junior here on the Singu, ready to pounce on Michaela from the shadows. So it looks like here that the Michaela does a good job up until this point of making sure they keep the Singularity teleport at bay. However, it looks like we're going to have a first tag here, and Junior is being extremely aggressive with this play. You would have to wonder, where is the head-on play from Vertigo? But there is Vertigo, I would imagine, trying to set up for the head-on play. Excuse me, not Vertigo, Despair. I got my teams mixed up. I apologize. And now we have our first down here by Junior here at main, and now it looks like they're in a precarious position. It looks like that infectious fright is giving some very much needed info. But now we have Autumn trying to take chase all the way over to main and force a pickup situation, which it looks like there is going to be a fast fault here. Well played as usual. Now we have Junior here going after the slug again with an EMP right nearby, but also playing it well as well. So now Junior is very, very cognizant of what jet's being worked on. The first gen went a little bit quicker, but we had 3 people hovering around. So now Junior has to pick the hook, and that no agi is really painful. But we have Ruin and we do have Pain Res. So it looks like Junior is going to place some cameras around. One thing I noticed about Junior as opposed to Autumn is that Junior is a little bit more chasey with the camera setup, which results are results. But unfortunately, it does not look like that is going to be a camera tag there. So Junior is looking at Autumn, putting the camera in a perfect spot, but I'm more than happy to delay that meatball tag a little bit longer. Now, Autumn is going to take the chase over its water tower. There's going to be a save over on the Michaela. And now we have a split pressure sort of situation. Autumn already got EMP'd. The Michaela is currently going to be the tunnel out. We had a failed ball and chain tech right now by Shimmy on the bill. And this is looking a little bit spicy right now. Now we have the BBU happening right now. I was about to say a BBU fail, but there was a tag that was taken. So now it looks like Junior is going to be happy to take the down on the Michaela and keep the pressure up. We have 2 people who are working on gens. We have 1 person is tagged and meatballed. I'm not sure if this is going to result in a 4K4 or 4K3, but we do have 4K, so that is icon right now. Now, unfortunately, it looks like we have a gen that is very well progressed, so Junior's kind of in an untenable position. Like I said, 4K3 was the Tycon, but that means that 2 gens had to get done. It looks like 3 gens are about to get done. And we have an EMP right on cue as well, so I think that the team is going to be happy to let Michaela sit on hook, but instead they go for the unhook. And with the FTP. And the meatball just a little bit too far out to the right. And now there's an EMP right on cue there as well. So unfortunate. It looks like we're going to have the gen that is over at the 7 side about to get done. Well, the gen is more right at the 6, and there it is, right on cue. And so just a couple things that changed between Autumn's playstyle and Junior's playstyle. Autumn was a lot more constant about setting up cameras ahead of time, and what that did is that made it so that 0 time was wasted and every chase went to somewhere that was covered by a camera. What Junior's been doing is sort of setting up cameras on the side there and making sure that well, better to say that setting up the cameras to try and do it in chase and save time. But I don't know if that was the right play here, as evidenced by the result. It was a good fake there by Junior, though. And now we have Infectious letting us know that Bill is working on the gen, and now Junior knowing the exact placement of where the camera should go, but not where the claw should go. Unfortunately, it looks like that Autumn is in a perfect spot to work on that generator. And right now, it's just looking like it's going to be a 4, not even a 4K. I don't know yet, but that's the fun part about casting these sorts of matches. Nobody knows what the result's going to be till the very end. And Despair is playing very well together right now. But we have 2 gens that are close to being popped. We still have Ruins up that's eating away at some of these generators. We have 3 gens that are looking like they're popped. There's an insta-pull right there. Despair is really in their zone right now. And that's going to be a grab on Shimmy. Taking Bill off the gallows in case he wanted to harm himself. But Jude's going to be very nice to go and let Bill down and put him on a nice safe meat hook right next to the exit gate. Now, at this point, I would imagine they should let Bill just sit on hook because they've already got the win con. They can go and work on getting the gens done. And there is a pull right there. Second win coming in clutch. And now I believe main building's about to get done. So it's looking like this is going to be likely a 6-stage game at most if Junior can find another survivor. But they're already at that gate there over on the 7-8 side. And second win came into play. That gate's about to be open. Junior trying to use the Singularity bipod on a hook. That's not how the killer's power works, unfortunately. And there is no Noed. They already know all the perks. Pain Res, Corrupt, Infectious, and Ruin. And that, like, it's going to be a 5-stage game with Shimmy very happy to shimmy out the exit gate as well. Autumn buying the precious time for Trees and Michaela, not gonna even try to pronounce the name, out, and that's a 5-stage game from Junior. So Despair won big. We're against Vertigo. We'll be back after this. We have microphone things going on with me as I kicked my mic cord accidentally, but we have more Cheesy Casserole. MC, we just had to make sure that this was Cold Tower 2, not Cold Tower 1. So Doctor set here, Cheesy Casserole. Vertigo on the killer against Despair. So right now, it's going to be quite the build. We have Rapid, Stabiffle, Pain Res, and Corrupt. And we were having a discussion about the build earlier. The icon oftentimes gets confused with Alien Instinct, but Rapid Brutality is quite the perk on Doctor, and it looks like that's going to be a nasty hit on the Shimmy there. Cheesy Casserole is happy to take that hit and walk Shimmy down to the top side. Talk the add-ons here. We have Range, we have Discipline, and we have Cheesy Casserole on the Doctor. What this means is that Shimmy's about to get hit right here. So Discipline makes it so that the shock therapy detonates faster, meaning that it doesn't have to be charged up as long for it to affect the survivor. Reminder, shock therapy is the one that when Doctor puts out his hand and the force thing. The explosion right here is called the static blast. Recently, Doctor got a buff to where static blast movement speed within the static, it does not affect your walking speed as much. So it makes Doctor just a little bit more, shall we say, shocking. Anyways, the effect of Discipline happening here, but unfortunately it looks like D9 is gonna be taking a tag there and refusing to drop Shack Pallet yet. But that rapid insta-biffle right now is making it so that Cheesy Casserole can go in right after Shimmy. And reminder that these rule sets do not allow for DS to happen. But Cheesy Casserole is about to get a tag right here, despite the nasty ping confusion. Man, do I love when the Doctor hits me with his pole through the window. So now, Cheesy Casserole is going to hook the bill right here at the bottom side. The Coal Tower 2 layout confuses a few people, but as we all know, Coal Tower is really recognizable as a map because of the giant coal tower right there in the middle. But the difference between Coal Tower 1 and 2 is that Coal Tower 2, there's like a more of like a longer open area here in the middle without tiles. So the tiles are different, but I think D9 got caught looking in the back here. And it's looking a little bit bad here for Despair this minute. But we do have it looks like is a locker play to try and either get a head-on or a deception play from whoever has quick and quiet. The bill is going to go to this right here, and there needs to be a body block coming in. And Cheesy Casserole is happy to take the Stabiffle stack. I don't think the team recognizes Stabiffle is there yet, but even then, there's not much they can do, as Trees has not made themselves available for the people's viewing pleasure at all. We have a slug, we have a person who's dead, we have 7 stacks of Stabiffle, and we have the Obsession going in to pick up right now. And Cheesy Casserole is trying to think about, man, do I really want to keep these Stabiffle stacks for next time? And unfortunately, D9 getting caught with the mind game here. Cheesy Casserole getting that pickup, and we have 8 stacks of Stabiffle, and it has to be a double save. So either way, this is going to end up in an unfortunate double save. The only person who could come in for the single save would have to be Trees, and it'd have to be a frame perfect save here. Talking about gen pressure, it doesn't look like they have many options as where to work gens without static blast being put up. Cheesy Casserole is going to go ahead and put the static blast there, and now Trees is getting caught out in the open. And unfortunately for Autumn, the only person who can go in for the save is a person who's about to get shock therapied, and instead, Trees does a very good job of letting D9 set on hook for a bit. Right now they are, well, I was actually going to say I thought Autumn was going to be on a gen. It looks like that's a bit of a risky play considering the gen progress, but it looks like they're going to just run to the edge of the map and do the little bit of edge maxing. But Cheesy Casserole on the sticks right now. A fun fact about Cheesy Casserole does play on the console. And now D9 is going to go and go kiss the wall right now. And those 8 stacks of Stabiffle really aren't doing much other than just helping to get the pickup a lot faster. So, D9 is now over here at the top side map, away from all the gens. But a crow just flew over there near the 11 side of the map. So the Static Blast is going to let Cheesy Castle know where everybody is. And that gen is close to being done. Now, right now, Despair has to play for at least the 4K2 to give themselves a chance to, at least to make it fair, at least somewhat fair for their killer. But Vertigo right now is looking to have the upper hand here. And remember, those 8 stacks of Stabiffle are still showing, and with Rapid Brutality, there's absolutely no reason to body block this here. It's going to end up likely going to be a 4K2, if not a 3 gen with 3 stages. Excuse me, 3 fresh. And now here, D9's going down. Static Blast is up. And unless Trees is able to save this Sable from the trees, it looks like it's just not going to work out. And I guess Trees is going to be able to save D9 from the ground. No, it looks like Trees is going to be happy to try and play for the hatch here. But those... No, excuse me. Autumn hasn't dead yet. I thought Autumn was dead. I apologize, team. I was so focused on D9's death. But I apologize for knowing Sable. Something that Behavior should consider doing about her cosmetics. So now we have Trees over here, and I think that Cheesy Castle is realizing that the time is to try and play for the fresh. And that discipline coming in right now. And even though Stabiffle has been nerfed, it's still a very viable perk. 6 stacks of Stabiffle is still extremely deadly, especially in the hands of the Herman. So Cheesy Casserole is going to go and slug and go after Autumn here, who's likely working a gen. And there is some gen progress here. But because of being in Madness Tier 3, Autumn is going to get found because of Static Blast. And Trees is going to be right there. That discipline is going to come in and stop the pallet from being dropped here. And it's going to be a very close sort of ballet happening here. So now that Trees is down on the ground with full Tier 3, Cheesy Castle doesn't need to look for the slug. You call it built-in Deer Stalker. So now we're just going to have to see how this plays out. And I think that's going to play out is that this is going to be a 4K 2. Cheesy Casserole played this really well. And Jared did a good job of really getting the gens done despite not knowing a Rapid and Stabiff. I have a feeling that most people don't expect both of them. But Cheesy Castle went very aggressive with this build on Doctor. And usually it's sort of rapid or sloppy. But because the Obsession did not take chase that much this match, it unfortunately led to some very short chases elsewhere. As you can see, that's Tree's first hook. What a match by Cheesy Casserole, and what an effort by Despair. We'll be right back after this match. We have Despair on Killer versus Vertigo. I'm still your host, Def Awukis. We're here now with the Autumn patented triple perk chase build. And add-ons are still the same. Autumn is going with discipline and range. The win con for the serves needs to be a 4K1. That means they need to get 4. That's right, 4 gens done. But now we have here Elite taking chase here. Elite is subbed in Rose here. And Elite getting a little bit caught out in the open. But unless there is a body block, which looks like there is, and now Dark Arrogance that I was talking about earlier with the staff here is a very interesting pick. So It's the same perks as before, except no corrupt. And what this does is it's extremely aggressive to chases, essentially, assuming that a down is going to come down very fast. There was a tag that was very early, but gens are being worked on, and now we have Dark Arrogance and Rapid Brutality, Stabiffle, and Pain Res. Now, what Dark Arrogance does, I believe, is it gives JoJo a check spot to look at. What Dark Arrogance does is I believe it makes it so that the vault is 25% faster at the expense of the stun time being 25% longer. But what it looks like here is that Autumn is gonna play that risk here and yet to vault a window only to get stunned. But what we do have now is Junior taking chase here to the top side and gonna actually dodge this, and it's gonna be a very close shock here, and it actually is just gonna be Junior hugging this for all he's worth, but then still deciding to leave and go to the side of the map. With Elite being in tier 3, with Junior being in tier 3, and JoJo being injured, it's pretty safe to say that wherever someone is screaming and a heal gets done, there's a chance that it's going to be where the resets happen. But the other side of Doctor is that with tier 3, you can see the hallucinations, and the hallucinations where they appear for the survivor as well as on your screen. So unfortunately, it looks like JoJo's going to take this down and think that they're going to make it to the pallet, but that's the biffle right there, is making it a little bit harder to set up saves possibly. But it's also giving kind of budget agitation, which is a nice little side effect of that. Static Blast coming in here from Autumn here. And now we have, I believe that's Cheesy Casserole there. Now, there are no gen kick perks here, only chase perks. The only perk that does any regression to gens is Pain Res. And I think that's perfectly fine on a map like Cold Tower. It is a little bit of a gamble though. My experience sometimes with Pain Res is that it just spawns on one side of the map and then the map really tells you to just get good. But now we have some more edging going on by Vertigo. They're deciding to go over here to the side of the map and try to set up at least for a gen to get done or a rescue to happen. And now Autumn knows where the healthy survivor is and where the injured survivor is. The only survivor that Autumn doesn't know where they are at the moment is Elite, and Elite could be cranking that Soldier Boy in a gen probably right now. But it looks like that JoJo is probably going to go dead right here, just based on the having to get them out of tier 3, because Elite and Junior together would be a catastrophe. But now Cheesy was working on a different gen. We have 3 gens with a lot of progress, so that Tycon is actually make that 4 gens with a lot of progress. That Tycon is likely going to come into play here shortly, but Cheesy Casserole there forcing the hit, which is very smart if they realize the biffle is in play. So now Cheesy's about to get slugged, and Autumn is going to use Rapid Brutality to go up to the top side. Elite is caught over there in the 11 side gen. The pallet has not been dropped yet, but the Herman Shock is about to force Elite to take the window, and it's going to be really close. The pallet does get not dropped. Does get not dropped. Does get not dropped. Unfortunately, it's looking like this is a very tough this is gonna be a tough sledding for Vertigo here. Well, now that Junior is up and Cheesy Casserole is up as well, it looks like Junior's gonna go back to going to the edge of the map. As I've seen here, this is the correct play. The Pain Res comes here. It's not going to be easy for the rest of this match to play out the way that Vertigo wants to. Cheesy Casserole played it very well, and Despair recovered from the mistakes very well. But it looks like here that that early camp and tunnel out was a big issue with Vertigo. It's unfortunate, but we're just going to have to see how the rest of this plays out. But now everybody's in tier 3, which means that the only thing that they could do is either set it for a save or take the tier 3 debuff off. And it looks like they are going to try and set up for the save. Either that or the graphic is bugged on my side of the screen, which is a possibility. And it is because the graphic is bugged on my side. Death at 4 is extremely tough. I understand how difficult it is, but at this point, Autumn has to play for the win. I think that there's a missed skill check there, which feels like Autumn is happy to try and camp this. Now Cheesy Casserole is in tier 3, so that gen is not getting done anytime soon. And Elite is going to have to nosedive for the hook or work a different gen at the moment. And there's Elite getting caught out in the open. Cheesy Casserole yelling in the distance that the tofu pizza is burnt. And we have another death here at 4, so there are gens with progress here. Oh, we don't have a death here. My bad. I thought that Elite got camped here. So now we have Autumn here looking and utilizing actually the well, their game sense first and foremost, because if Cheesy Casserole is over there dancing in the distance, that means that Junior's somewhere setting up for the save. And indeed, that was the case. Junior with the Elite tracking here, but it's going to be a close one for Cheesy Casserole to try and set up for this. If Cheesy and Junior both double a gen, it's going to be very difficult for them to come back from this. And now we have Cheesy Casserole here over at tier 2 Madness. But I don't know, as you can see here, Autumn's going to have to shock this right on time. But right now, Junior's gen is probably about 40% of the way done. And I think that Autumn overextended too much, just by a hair. And Cheesy Casserole playing this very well. This is going to be another gen that gets done here. All because of the game of chicken here that's happening. And unfortunately, Elite gets stuck on the wall there. The gen gets done. Cheesy Casserole is off baking some pizza in the main building. And Autumn here is just waiting for Fall to come faster. But either way, there's still another 2 gens that need to be done before this is a win. If not, then it will be a tie. It'll be a tie if there's another gen done. But Junior getting caught out in the open here. Going down. And I think this is going to be second stage for Junior. I'm trying my best to pay attention now. Nope, it's a death. I got that one wrong too. Well, we have 6 stacks of Stabiffle, Dark Arrogance, Rapid Brutality, Scourge Hook, and we only have 1 Scourge Hook remaining. As you can see here, it's likely going to be Cheesy Casserole trying to run for Cheesy Casserole's life to the distance. But the gen here is about 60% done. If Autumn had committed to that chase, there's a high probability that Elite gets this gen done. So very good call by them. But now we have Cheesy Casserole getting hit to the tier 2. And mind you, Static Blast also got a buff as well, to where if you hit someone with your Static Blast, the cooldown is shorter than if you don't hit them, but the overall cooldown has been shortened by quite some amount. So what we have now is Autumn playing chicken with Cheesy Casserole at the shack, and Elite is likely working a gen over on the top side of the map. And I think that Autumn is having a bit of a crisis of conscience to decide whether or not to commit to Cheesy or commit to Wolf. Either way, one's edible, the other's a wolf. And I think this is going to be the down because of Dark Arrogance. which Dark Arrogance coming in clutch. But Cheesy Castle's internet says no thank you. And now here comes the chase that I was referring to. Cheesy Casserole gets that vault still despite the shock here. And it's going to be playing the Z-Wall, the competitive Z-Wall for their entire life. Going to the edge of the match, which I believe this is going to be a tie. And it's going to be close. Elite has about 15 seconds left on the gen. And the gen is not going to get done. Well played by Autumn on this. Fantastic gameplay here to utilize the Terror Radius perfectly to get Elite to stop working the gen. And man, if Cheesy Casserole literally spent maybe 5 more seconds, this is actually going to be a tie. But unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be a loss for Vertigo 2-0. Well played. Well played. And now here, Autumn is going to be happy to go back and pick up Cheesy Casserole and confirm hook stage, which is just good hook hygiene at this point. Absolutely well played here. Cheesy Casserole yelling in probably agony of this outcome. Extremely close. And man, this is what makes Doctor sets so engaging. Despite the fact that survivors don't have any perks at all, really at all, against Doctor, it's so fun to see the macro come out into the matches like these. The difference between being able to use exhaustions versus not, depending on the map. All of these things. So very well done. Doctor sets are always gut-wrenching on serve side and on killer side. And what a great way to end this series here with the 2-0. And thank you all for enjoying this 2-0 here with Vertigo losing 0-2 to Despair. But don't despair, we got more Grindhouse coming after this break. And we are here with more Grindhouse with Tyro. Hi, Tyro. I'm here talking and yelling over you. How are you today, Tyro?
Hello, I am all right. I'm here to cast and watch some fun games, and we have Jadon here with the Blight, going to be going around looking for the survivors, and pretty interesting set. It is going to be Blight on Suffo, and right off the bat, it does look like we're going to get Amir in the chase and a very quick pallet break. Going to leave him a little bit vulnerable, but is going to make that window. The chase is going to continue, and now we have Furious here, kind of taking the reins away from Amir.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun time on Suffo Blight. And I think Skibbity Blight is my favorite set that I enjoyed. It was the first set I ever played on. But one of the things that changed with Blight since then is his add-ons have changed. His hug teching has changed. Even Ruin has changed. So all these things have changed how Blight plays. So, Tyra, what do you want to see out of Jadon here with this chase happening right now?
Well, we need quick tags, and we need to get rid of as many resources as possible, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. Jadon just taking that stun here at the Ormental, going to be going for some dash plays around the pallet, but it's not going to land anything. And it does look like Amir is playing this extremely safe, extremely well, but is kind of zoned now towards this little dead zoned area. We only have this window to play off of, but they are actually going to make it around. Jadon not quite reading his movements.
Oh, good lord. Jaden is lost in this sauce. I think that we got ourselves a bit of a juicer magooser situation here. And that Ruin is doing some work, but if Jaden can't get it down, Corrupt is about to let up. So I don't know how this is gonna play out, but we are still watching double speed Blight all the same. So Jadon still gets that tag and is very smart to let this chase happen here at main. So Tyro, What's the problem with chasing main as we see here a whiff happening with Furious? What is your concern about main building?
I mean, this could just take a long time, and Jadon, it took a generator to pop before a tag even came through. It looks like the survivors are doing such a good job just denying all pressure. Furious just going to make it back around main, playing that pallet extremely well, and Jadon just struggling to keep up, going to be bumping off some of these obstacles, but still is forced to break the pallet, and that's going to get Furious a lot of distance away from this area, going back around main, just looping that window 3 times, buying as much time for his team as possible, enough time to pop both totems, and that's going to be the first down at 4 gens.
Yeah, it's a bit rough here. I think that one of the things that a lot of people who played Blight previously, when the hug tech was still around, is that Blight was a killer that could ignore a lot of loops in the map and did not have to play with a lot of the same rules as it were. But another rule here as well that has been instituted with Blight is no pain res. So this makes it a little bit more difficult for people who can expect to sit there and camp their hook immediately. But it looks like Jadon is understanding that and realizing that maybe, you know, leaving the unhook wasn't the greatest play. Maybe make your choice could have been an option.
Yeah, right now, Jadon is kind of struggling to get that tunnel out going. They're playing a very good game around these obstacles. That's going to be another vault into that main building. And you know, Furious is doing such a good job just denying all of this pressure from that early tunnel, but it does look like they're kind of caught out here, but will go down under a pallet. We could see a pallet save.
Yeah, Tyro, I think I faced you guys one time when we were scrimming, and you guys tried to get a pallet save, but unfortunately for Jadon, they're not doing the... the Juki's tech doesn't work here. It looks like Jadon is going to be getting that tag right there and showing that that good old-fashioned Osaka tech that we all love.
Yeah, such a good read onto the vault. Jadon going to be going for the second hook stage, but the survivors' gen pressure at the same time has been incredible. We are going to see the second stage only come through at 2 generators. And this is around the time where Blight wants to get that tunnel out, like, finished at 2 generators. So this is going to be quite hard for Jadon to get anything going. They are going to need to rely on survivor mistakes at this point. But he does actually find the save, though, which is huge. This could be very good for his result. That's going to be the pick. But it does look like we're going to see Jadon not go for the down onto Nuke. Instead, going to be going back towards Furious, getting the body block with the dash. And then they're going to go right towards this pallet gym. Not going to go for the pallet. Instead, going to go for the vault. And they're going to get hit through the window.
Brother. Oh, Jesus. Yep. And there's a tunnel out right here with 1 gen remaining. And I think Jaden here is really going to have to get some work here. I think that 4K0 is not outside the realm of possibility. But the gen split is all on the top side of the map. And that's why I do say that. And I think that so long as Jaden keeps his composure despite some of these misplays, a decent result can still be put into place here. But we have the reset happening here. We have Amir hugging the hills, showing that Anakin, I have the high ground, and takes the balance landing and takes the tag. And now this needs to be a tag onto somebody else, because Amir is going to take the tag and the balance landing all the way to bottom, and it's going to be 3 gen Blight from here on out.
Yeah, Jaden going to be finding more scratch marks over here. Jaden probably wants to... I'm shocked Jaden's committing this far outside of the 3 gen. If I were Jaden, I would be playing for tags, trying to get use out of that Thanatophobia while also setting up for a potential snowball effect from the slugging potential. And that's going to be a stun from Amir, though, and that's going to buy so much time. Jaden's going to have to run. And he does actually get that down onto Amir, though. And that could be pretty huge, but Jaden's going to go for a slug and then go and try to pressure these generators elsewhere. There's lots of progress over here at 2, and there's probably more progress behind main if I had to guess, but it does look like Jaden correctly calls out the survivor rotating for the pickup. And actually just picks up right there in the face, knowing what Jaden knows. that pickup is pretty free, and that's going to give Jaden the opportunity to carry towards the top side of the map and then go and pressure these top side generators.
Yeah, it looks like this gen's gonna get done in probably a split second. And unless Jaden gets this down immediately, it looks like this is gonna be all gens completed. But at this point, I always wonder that if whenever they did the Blight add-on changes, that they could have introduced Sloppy Blight. But, you know, I think for as quick as this killer is and how he could just dish out tags so free like this, it's probably for the best. But that also brings the attention to this build. Because of how long that initial chase was, Kerr did give value, but by the time that a down was given, both totems were getting popped and gens were already being worked on. So I don't know if there was any other build that Jaden could have ran that would have given some more effect because pain res is being gone. But right now, I know that Jaden is wishing they had no add on Blight.
Jaden going to be getting that tag, and the other survivors healed in the meantime, which is good news for Jaden. That means that the survivors are not working on those topside generators, and now Jaden can just kind of hold cross, is going to get the kick off over here. But this is some very good pressure, although the heal very quickly coming through onto Amir.
Yeah, they're playing this really patient. I think that means that both of them were here at the bottom side. And, you know, the thing about having game sense is sometimes game sense can be incorrect. Also, perks can fail. So that's what makes Dead by Daylight such a fun game to watch competitively, is because it's this chess match between survivors, perks, game sense, and killer decisions that makes it so fun to cast and be a part of.
Amir going to be tagged here, does not have a pallet in that pallet gym. That's going to be an injury which Jaden is going to try to capitalize on by rushing over here to this generator. Going to be getting the tag onto Claudette as well. Nuke going to be running down while Jaden gets the dry kick on this generator. And now Jaden's a little bit concerned that Sora is in the area, just looking around for that survivor, but cannot find anyone. This generator over here also has progress, but we also don't know what's going on with main. But Sora does actually get found. That's a lot of information, and that's such good news for Jaden, because that means that if they don't want to lose that generator progress over there by the hill, they are going to need to stop resetting, and that's just a bad call.
Absolutely. The 3-gen Blight is a monster nonetheless, and the changing of the speed add-ons to be less does make it harder for Blight to 3-gen, but what it does not do is save survivors from making bad calls like that.
Very good on Jaden to find that rotation. It looks like Sora is going to be running down towards the bottom side of the map, and we do actually see Amir in the area. That gives Jaden some more information, and with the scratch marks over there, Jaden's kind of concerned about that hill gen still.
Yeah, I mean, keep running down, but then again, like I said, or like you said, is that there's mistakes that are happening with callouts about where the survivors are going and all these things. And now that you have Jaden here looking down over at Nuke in the bottom tile here, and I don't know what exhaustions everybody is running.
Oh, good.
Very good flare.
Yeah, Jaden not able to commit to that chase, does not want any more progress on these topside generators, is just going to continuously barrage this generator with pressure, and is trying to also keep an eye out on this generator here by the logs. Does not want a survivor to sneak over there and finish it, but that's going to give the survivors enough distance to fully reset yet again, and they're playing this extremely safe, which I love to see.
Yeah, playing safe is definitely the play here, but Jaden right now is going to be happy to go and take this next chase with Nuke. Nuke is going to play this 4-lane and this tile very well, and Nuke is right back over there, and I think Jaden realized that a split second later. I wonder if the IL is telling them what's going on here. But this is a really tough situation because of the way that the perks are played out and how everything is. And now Amir is right here, but I think Jaden's going to go check on that hill gen right there because the scratch mark was right there. And I think we have another survivor getting caught out here in the open. Sprint burst may save lives sometimes in this game, but it doesn't save bad positioning all the time. So Jaden is going to go check the gens again right here, and we're going to be back to the same thing, which is the 3-gen Blight.
Yeah. That is going to be another chase going through onto Sora. And now the team has to be careful because if they're not resetting Amir, Nuke is the only healthy survivor that can be on the top side of the map. That is going to be the reset, though. That gives Jaden enough information that he's actually going to commit to this chase. And it does actually kind of catch Sora out here. But a very good flare going to mean a miss and not a hit. And Jaden's just trying to zone away from this window, doing a very good job. That's going to be a down. And this could be where the snowball train starts. Now these two survivors have to play for this save, as well as continue their barrage on those topside generators. But with this hook positioning that Jaden's going for, this could mean trouble for the survivors.
Absolutely could, because they can't set up for the save here. And I think we just saw one of them working a gen over at the 3-2 side right there. But as you can see, there is Amir getting caught out sort of in the open here. Jaden is slowly channeling his inner fucking Osaka Junior tech. And it's going to be interesting to just see how this plays out. But now we have Nuke getting the tag, and it's looking like it could be not necessarily curtains, but the singular mistake that Blight is still able to capitalize on. Ooh. Oh my god, that was so close.
That wasn't Deli at all. That was actually second wind. And now Sora is going to be fully healed. And that is crucial right now because these other two survivors have to be resetting. And the fact that there's a healthy survivor on the board is huge. They actually find the reset and get their down.
Jesus.
Very good dash. That's going to be the pickup onto Nuke. And a carry up back towards the top side of the map. This is a long trek, though. A body block could actually come through and deny this hook, but I don't think we're going to see it. Instead, that will be the hook on the top side of the map, which is just what Jaden wants. And now Jaden's going to be playing around these generators yet again. A very fast pull coming through onto Nuke. Not going to be going for that hit onto the borrowed time. And Nuke is just going to run down towards the bottom side of the map. Jaden is going to commit to this chase, I think, saying that the generators do not have that much progress. A very good flare coming out from Nuke, going to buy as much time as possible. And then Nuke's just going to go straight towards the bottom corner of the map and say, go ahead and pick me up. Are we going to see a DS? We do not see a DS.
Oh my lord, that was such a crazy sequence of events. See, the thing is, I thought it was second wind, but I should have communicated that out loud because second wind is such an underrated perk in this scenario. If someone isn't there to see the pull, they might think that it is deliverance. And here Amir doing his, Simba Pride Rock Lion King Skibbity shenanigans again. And it's looking like this is going to be a gen that is going to be completed. It was a very good greed there with the vault right inside, but Bloodlust coming in here, which is why no one should ever run Rapid Brutality on ever. And that was a hit. So now it looks like Sora is likely going to be gambling to get this gen done. And Amir is going to be happy to take chase here. So I think that Jaden is realizing that they're not going to be able to quite stop the gens from going, but I don't know if I agree with this. I do now agree after I hear this.
Yeah, those survivors on the bottom side of the map, they still have to reset, and this is going to push Sora off of the generator, getting a bit of pressure that way, knowing that the survivors have to heal in order to not give that snowball potential up. And Jaden not quite going to find Sora. Sora pathing that extremely well, just being extremely unpredictable. And that's going to give Jaden a lot of time wasted up here. And the survivors are actually able to reset. And there we go. We are going to go back into 3-gen busting mode yet again.
Well, there's something that definitely needs to be busted. But unfortunately, it's not the 3-gen right now. I guess that Jaden is edging the gens as best as he can at the moment. But you know what? That's what we're here for. We're here for all the gameplay. The 3-gen Blight. The 4K clown, whatever it is, that's what we're here for.
Jaden going straight back to holding that cross, thinking that all survivors are now on the bottom side of the map, looking around for any mispositioned survivors.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I think that the issue is right now is that the gen kick limit is going to come into play here. But Amir, I think, getting a little bit too comfortable with that hill. And now that the gen is regressing and Amir is tagged, now it's time for Jaden to go after the top side. So the issue here right now that I have with the gameplay is that Jaden is playing for the 4K1, which is great. But I don't know if getting a 3K might have been more beneficial to WinCon, because there's a high possibility that this could go from 4K1 to 2K8 or 2K7, depending on who is hooked. I have to check with the scorecard for that. But Jaden here is going to go and look at the 2 side and go and pressure Sora. Now we have 3 people that are about to be injured. The game sense here is game sensing.
Yeah, that's going to be a tag onto Sora, injuring all 3 survivors, fully stacking that mana, and then going to be playing around. Oh my goodness, just slides off 3 trees in a row. That is so depressing. But Jaden is going to continue the assault here onto Sora, going for the swing, not quite going to make it. Very good fake, very good greed yet again from Sora. The teammates are going to be able to heal off of that. And now we are forcing the pull, buying as much time as possible for the team. And that is going to be another hook onto Sora up here on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, look at the locker hop, and I think about something like Eruption coming into play. But because of the gen kick and gen damage limit, I don't think that would have been the play here. So now we have Sora here, who is on second stage, who's on now going to be on Death Hook if they get unhooked. You have 3 gens with high progress or some progress. You have Amir here who's lurking for the save, and Jaden is just reading them like a book right now. Although the micro not be perfect, what Jaden is doing is making up for macro. And now the tag goes on over here to Nuke, but I think it's going to be a tunnel out on Sora here shortly. And that's going to be an attempt at a body block. And instead, Jaden is going to play this very patiently until he gets bumped on his arch nemesis, the trees.
And Jaden not quite able to get that follow-up down, and it looks like he's going over here and finds the reset that was being set up. That is going to be Nuke caught out in a very good flare. Nuke is just unhittable, doing such a good job denying the pressure from the Blight dash. And Nuke is just running around this double window, milking it for all it's worth, doing such a good job of fake again. Going to be going for the vault, getting the vault, but the read from Jaden resulting in the down, and this could be where Jaden starts to take over the game.
Jaden's absolutely been fighting for Jaden's life, and I think that what was happening on the survivor side here is I believe that the serves were they were a bit too happy to say that, you know what, this Blight is playing bad, we don't need to worry about the 3-gen. So I think that they thought that the rest of this match would play out a lot differently than it is right now. And instead you have Jaden here sliding on everything here. Jaden's just reverted us back to old Hug Tech Blight by accident. But I think what the survivors said was that, oh, this Blight is not playing well, we can roll him just based on how the first chase went. But if you notice, Jaden was happy to keep chase topside where the main pallet and the main building is. I think that gave them a misnomer that Jaden just was a bad killer. But he absolutely brought this back by the skin of his teeth. And it's so entertaining to see the 3-gen play, the gamble play off against the gamblers. Tyro, I'm loving this Blight gameplay.
Yeah, very well played from Jaden, and I do think that the survivors put up quite the fight. It looked very grim for Jaden early on, and they were able to just bring it back to this pretty good result for Blight. Very good for Jaden. And that is going to be the conclusion of this game, confirming the 4K1. And now it's going to be up to the other team. It's going to be up to Valence's survivors to get a result that is befitting of Jaden, who worked so hard for that result there. So please do stay tuned. Thank you all for watching, and we will be back momentarily. All right, we are back with Grindhouse Scrims Week 16, and we are here with the Blight once again, and this time We are seeing actual dashes. I'm Tyro, one of your casters, and I am joined by my good friend Georgie. Georgie, what are we thinking?
Well, it's good to be here watching another Blight set. We saw the previous Blight for Valence get a 4K1 after a very long, drawn-out battle. That was like the Battle of Stalingrad, man. Those survivors were making it so difficult. They would not lay down and give that Blight his 4K. But in the end, he was able to get to the 3v1 and get that 4K at 1 generous remaining. So with your local Jesus now responding for his team on the Blight side, this build, it's kind of the same, but if you look at that perk Tyro, Call of Brine, that's not a perk you run for regression. No, that's a perk you run for info. I remember someone telling me that statistics, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it only takes off like an extra 12 seconds at most if you let it run for full regression. So it's mostly just for information, but it can be used extremely effectively, especially on Blight.
Yeah, I think that I've seen quite a few Blights run that pretty well, especially in scenarios like last game with 3 gens. But right off the bat, we see Suki taking a tag and then running straight up towards the corrupted gens, doing a very good job of trying to plan a appropriate death spot for the team. But some bump logic coming out is actually going to get Suki on the way up towards the top.
That's a hook
doing
in the
very
gen
good
lock.
job.
Oh, yeah, this hook coming right here in the top side. You can see Jesus went straight to that hill hook. Hill hooks are kind of like almost a reverse basement hook in how difficult they can be to get the tunnel out off of it, provided they aren't the lucky one with Valence landing. So Suki gonna be trying to do some bizarre pathing there to get away from your local Jesus, but he does get a good flick, reads their pathing. Jesus
Funnily enough,
now
we
getting
see
info.
that info, yeah, just like you were saying, just knowing exactly where there is a survivor on that generator and is just trying to pressure both the cross as well as the unhook, just trying to bait a survivor into maybe forcing that unhook very early, which can be very detrimental to a team if that does happen, but the survivors are not falling for it.
No, the survivor's very, very willing to just let Suki kind of sit on hook here and bide the time. She's just getting a little pressured and wants to go out and get a tag here. We see this a lot in adaptation from comp sets, but holy, what a good flick and a read on a Jesus. He's just going to take the tag on Yui and go back for the tunnel out on Suki.
Yeah, that's going to stall that bottom gen from popping, and at the same time, it will create pressure for later that needs to be addressed with Yui getting injured. That will be a gen pop, but local Jesus does actually find the resetting survivors, and that is going to be a chase around main. Main is not dropped. They did not drop the pallet. That could be a quick down if the dash comes through.
Oh, no.
I think that was a crucial mistake not dropping that pallet there.
Decisive strike, maybe? No. However, you got to think about the survivors. Oh, okay. Your local Jesus kind of taking a trip down into the Goon Cave of Maine. Not super interested in. There's no basement there. Not today, Jesus. No Goon Cave for you. But gonna just take his hook here back at 11 on Suki. But Tyro, I mean, look, his win con, he's got to get a 4K2 here. I mean, yeah, you're getting a second stage onto the Ada, but that's still, you know, you're closing in on a potential for getting a tie here. You know, it's not enough to just get a 4K1. You look at that gen over there by logs. It's not unreasonable for the survivors to just split these gens, especially with the progress on this gen over here on at the hill at 10.
Oh, I agree. But at the same time, this gen split is a little bit more favorable for that 4K2 win con, and doing a very good job. Oh, good read by Jaden. Is going to give up that tag. Meanwhile, the Yui was healed across the map at some point. And now that's actually going to be Zoe kind of caught out on the hill. Probably going to see the balance landing proc, but a very good dash from your local Jesus, going to get another tag. And that's going to be very hard for the survivors to come for an unhook. They're going to have to send their only healthy survivor now, which is going to be a lot of pressure lost since the other two definitely need to heal.
Yeah, the survivors have got to find a way to get a grasp on this. I think they're playing a little bit too greedy on that hill gen, but your local G is going to be closing in onto the 3v1 now, especially with that hook timer finally ending on Suki. So now these survivors have just got to play it slow. I mean, it's just going to be all about a slow game where you place, you get those resets, and you only enter the genlock if you're healthy. You kind of treat it like a hag almost, but with this genlock, like you were saying, Blight speed, even though that gen is kind of far away on the hill, and then also on the logs, it's gonna be so hard to stop him from getting attacked. But a tag on a Yui and a good bump logic from local Jesus is gonna set him up for more pressure.
Yeah, I love how patient he's being on this Blight. And then
Oh.
a very cheeky mind game going to get the down and proc eruption across the board. And I bet the survivors were not going to call that down so quickly, but that's going to be a carry up towards the top side of the map yet again, to where your local Jesus can just have free reign to check on all these generators across the whole map.
Yeah, Caligula was just kind of sitting on that pallet with their Grimace Shake, and your local Jesus came up and just, I like you cut, G, and just slapped it right out of their hand. And in return, though, gonna find a Zoe on the bottom, on the top side, and get a tag. So this pressure is just mounting.
Yeah, and there's the unhook. That's going to be a tag onto Jaden. Now all 3 survivors are injured. They're all kind of scattered up here on the top side of the map. Very smart from your local Jesus to cut off that pallet gem. But a very good play. Not going to go for the vault. Jaden, the Blight player from last game, pulling out some Blight knowledge and reading the Blight very well during chase. But that is going to be the find onto the reset.
No,
Caligula.
does get
Oh,
found.
what the heck?
A little bit of an unnecessary drop maybe from Zoe, but that's gonna lead to a
like
slug
that
situation.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just reveals your location, and then your local Jesus is just gonna go after Zoe.
Oh, but this is
And
so
now
hard
what
without
does
hug
Jaden
tech.
do?
No hug tech available on new Blight, so Jesus just kind of has to go into cooldown at that pallet. Zoe gonna be making it to this other main pallet, gonna choose to drop it, not give Jesus pallet control. But the rushers are coming back. He has to make a decision on whether he's gonna go for the
Oh, he
hook.
got the read on Jake.
Oh, he finds a rotation. This could be so
Jaden's gonna-
bad.
Oh, that's just a read down onto
I think it's
Caligula.
over. There's too much pressure. We need a play here from the survivors. They need to be able to dodge something. It's now or never. Jaden needs to turn up for the team. Is he going to be able to dodge this rush? He needs to get a good flare. Life is coming out. Jesus going for the flare, but gets
Good
the
flick.
90. What a great flick from Jesus. Jesus coming out strong in this Blight set. I'm thinking, wow, this is Valence's pick? It looked like Gamblers was a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, just doing such a good job on this killer. And just protecting these slugs now. Going to be looking for any rotations on the pickup. We are going to see the pickup on to Jaden. And that will be a hook back here. And at this point, like, your local Jesus could theoretically just sit here. Because, like, Zoe could pop one gen across the map and it still wouldn't matter.
Yeah, when your win con is pretty much just a standard 4K, you know, 4K1 to tie, 4K2 to win.
Oh no! Information was
deli.
given up. Oh!
And the
I
tides have
actually
turned.
forgot that perk was in play, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen it because the game has just been going lightning fast. He's just keeping up the pressure here. But now he's got a decision tire. He's got Jaden at the top. He's got Zoe on this gen over at 3. The survivor is doing a good job to force Jesus to make a decision.
Yeah, I like that from the survivors, but at this point, they are both injured. Jaden can't even get healed if he wanted to. It's going to be very hard to come back. Oh, excuse me. It looks like they're just trying to pop the gen down here, but your local
they're
Jesus
so
actually gets
desperate.
the read and pushes Zoe off of the gen. Very good play around this long wall and getting that quick down, and now going to be slugging and going away. Looking for the rotation, getting some stream lag. I apologize, but I hear the down
There it
come
is.
through.
Yep, Jaden does get found eventually. We just saw Jesus just teleport from mid-map and claim his down. He's just got those magical powers. I mean, Tyro, this match, I gotta say, it just comes down to just incorrect pull timings. I really think the survivors either need to commit to letting them set on a hook or not at all. And, you know, getting those hooks interrupted and pressuring the wrong gens that are close to the hook is just not gonna work, especially against a Blight. You know, you have to play the macro a little bit cleaner. So even though Jesus played well, I think this game, unfortunately, was a little bit more of the fault of some survivor macro mistakes. However, that's not to say this set is over. I mean, this team did look confident and prepared for this, so and these teams are very close in terms of results. So who's to say how this set goes on in the future?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they pair up against the Doctor, who is a little
Doctor
bit
set.
more chase oriented, because Blight chase is pretty fast usually, but Doctor chase, you can have one chase with a survivor last pretty much the whole game if they play it right. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these teams are able to cook up in that set coming up.
Yeah. What a performance from Jesus, though, coming out. He looked very strong in the Blight. I'd be interested to see if he's playing killer in the future for this team for these other sets, because, man, this guy is looking very, very strong.
I mean,
dominant.
look, he's got the Z slasher cosign. That's a coveted cosign.
The Z Slasher GOAT.
Look at that. I wish Slasher would cosign me.
You know, he's an enigma.
He's
Who knows
picky.
who he's gonna sign next? But we'll be back with you for Valence versus Gamblers with a Doctor set. Stick around. Welcome back to Grindhouse Scrims, week number 16. We're back with Valence and Gamblers. Tyra, we just saw the Blight set get wrapped up with a 4K3 and a win for Gamblers. Now we're on to the Doctor. What do you think about good old Doctor with this build specifically?
I gotta say, it's very fun to see what different Doctor players run in terms of hit tank prevention. Seeing the sloppy and the rapid come through.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, giving a
no, is this a
pretty early
two-tap?
tag. Yeah, that's a 2-tap on Dasuki. That is unfortunate for Valence. Very quick down,
my
and oh
God.
my goodness
He's cracked.
gracious.
He's cracked. Who gave Jesus
He might just be the
Adderall?
best killer of all time. I don't know.
Unbelievable. Well,
I
I can tell you something. I played a lot of Doctor sets, and a lot of teams, you know, that head-on strategy is very common. So it's in some sense a little predictable, but to just raw guess that is some energy. I mean, I hate
you
to
can
say
say
it, but
he
it's-
raw dogged it. He raw dogged that.
he just raw dogged picked that with some. That was some Sigma energy if I've ever seen it. Sigma Mel Jesus coming in immediately with 2 basement hooks. What a statement.
Yeah, if I'm on Valence, I'm like scrambling with this early 2 basement hooks. And then he already knows where one player is. Like, he's just content to just hold this. Just super unfortunate for Valence. That is actually going to be an unhook coming through, though. Double
Without a trade.
unhook. They are going to have to get out of here quickly. Oh, but the body block coming through on Dasuki. Oh my goodness.
I
They
almost thought
managed
that
to
was gonna
get out. I think
Wow.
your local Jesus played that a little bit too
Oh no.
far away, but a very good play coming through. Gonna get a quick down as well.
The classic Doctor mind game. Don't you love it when you bait the pallet drop at Shaq, you drop it, and then you get shot?
There's a specific tech. That tech is named. I can't remember it for the life of me right now. I've had a long day, but
I don't know. Maybe some Doctor man came up with it back in like 2018 or something. But it's just wonderful to see. Man, this is a fast Doctor set, Tyra. I mean, immediately 3 fresh hooks, and
oh my.
and another down. Jesus, just
Suki just
destroying
caught
people.
off guard there.
Maybe a little
Just
bit
going to
bad.
be-
Unprepared comms here.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate for Valence. That's gonna be a. Oh no! They didn't call that they were getting hooked over there. Also, your local Jesus saw the survivor walking. It's gonna get the kick and then go and pressure.
Wait, are they here though? Are they the Houdini? No, it can't be.
No way.
They just
Did this
vaporized.
Scooby Doo? They had to Scooby Doo it. No.
Well, whoever
I
the
saw them.
survivor is on Valence, they don't exist anymore. They turned into thin air. Jaden, you can see, is already back to the mid map. So somehow, I mean, Jaden played so well in that Blight set last match. This guy's been playing. He's definitely the MVP for Valence. Just immediately look at him starting chase with distance on Doctor. Jesus just gonna choose to put him into tier 3 and walk away. This is kind of like the more traditional style you see with Doctor, where you get your hook and put everyone in tier 3 and go back and proxy it. Gotta start a chase immediately with a hit onto Zoe.
Yeah, that's gonna be a crucial hit, and It's very interesting to see how far away from the hook he's going. Oh my goodness, that's even more information with Caligula going to be found over here in this area as well. Very good shock so far from your local Jesus, not giving them any resources. And he knows not to shock too much. That is super well played.
Yeah, very important in a doctor to be able to understand when to use the power, when not to overuse it. It's such a fun kind of mind game if you ever watch Doctor 1v1s. I think it's my favorite 1v1 for sure, but kind of doing the right pathing and forcing the doctor to keep shocking and finding more ways to extend the palette in terms of like what you're looping and altering that is just so interesting to see how some players handle that. Jesus just on a roll there here though. You can see he's completely abandoned the playstyle of going for tunnel or camping any sort of hooks. I mean, when the downs are coming this fast and you're just this dominant in chase, why wouldn't you, right?
He's scared of a head-on.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure Zoe was the head-on player. I don't know.
So Suki is out of the game now. It's 3v1.
And that is super unfortunate. A 3v1 at 4 generators against Doctor. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, if you're on Valence, here's what the Survivor's got to do. You got to get a reasonable win con for your killer. So you just need to split the safe gens, triple split, and ideally have a chase that's long enough. The time for hit tanking, the time for setting up head-ons is over because you just cannot give a 4k4. It's just not a reasonable win con.
My goodness.
But the downs
Good
are just
M1 mind game.
so fast. Jesus just incredibly dominant in these chases.
I think his chases have been faster on Doctor than they were on Blight.
Interesting that is Doctor S tier now and Blight's just kind of like an A tier killer?
Maybe those buffs just like buffed him so much, you know? I mean, look how fast he is static blasting. That's OP, obviously.
Get him nerfed. Maybe the devs
nerf Doctor.
Maybe the devs team were cooking a little bit with the Doctor buffs, but you know, we've seen a lot of in history. Doctor has generally been one of the least lethal sets in competitive play, just because of how, as a team, if you coordinate and play together, you're able to set up hit tanks and stall his downs, just because it takes so long just for him to get an injury if you just keep shocking over and over. But in these kind of situations, this is not an easy match where you can just make many mistakes. It's all takes that one mistake where that double basement and the game was just lifted off from there. I don't think the Survivors have had a chance to lift this pressure. Jaden into chases with all these shocks. He's gonna get hit right here immediately.
Yeah, your local Jesus just playing that truck tile really well twice in a row. Just phenomenal gameplay so far on the killer. And it's just going to be continuously shocking. All 3 survivors are in tier 3.
Everyone's tier 3.
One of them's injured. This is going to be very hard to get any further progress. Zoe giving up a tag as well. And that sloppy butcher putting in work.
Everyone's in madness. There's so much pressure on the board. That's another hook onto Zoe. That's another pain res token available too. I mean, how has he only used 1 pain res and we're still at 4 gens? I mean, look,
it's like you were saying. The chases are just so
over
fast.
and over on Doctor. We're now in the 2v1. I mean, maybe he's him. Jesus is him. Herman Carter is just not designed to put up this kind of result, but in these kind of situations, you just have to spread out, and I think Survivors are just making too many mistakes in terms of the micro. You can have the best macro in the world, you can have the best dust spots in the world, but in the end, it won't be enough, and Jaden gonna be going down there. This is gonna be a 4k4, Tyro. This is unheard of.
Yeah. Very good result. Gamblers have to be like jumping for joy right now in the voice chat, just like popping off, saying, let's go. Because they only, if this 4k4 win con comes through, which it looks like it's going to because Caligula was found here, that's going to just be 2 generators that they need to face up against an M1 killer like Doctor, who's notorious for getting 6th stage. So they are probably just dancing in the voice chat right now. Your local Jesus playing this so well, just shocking to deny the pickup.
Great
Very
shock.
well played.
Caligula doesn't have a red stain to work with, so
Good
this double one's gonna be
game.
hard. She's gonna wrap it up at a 4k4. Tyro, Gamblers won the first Blight set. Valence is on the back foot for Doctor. I mean, they've got to find a way. How do you 4k5 on Doctor?
against a good team, it's nearly impossible. I don't think
Maybe some hexery, you know, some hex totems and a merciless
you
storm.
would have to like pop off with some like strange hex devour hope snowball build, and you'd have to get as good of a start as your local Jesus got there with the shack. On top of that, like it would be, it's an uphill battle.
Well, ditto what Tyra said. I'll definitely say Valence has an uphill battle. Gamblers taking the Blight set now, maybe soon to be taking the Doctor set, but we'll have to see. The fight's not yet over. We'll be back to see with you if Valence's killer can respond with a win con of 4K5. Stick around for the Grindhouse Scrim Knights.
Hello, Rizonomics class. I am Tyro, one of your hosts, and I'm joined by the professor himself, Georgie. Georgie, last game we saw a 4K4 from your local Jesus, and this time we need a 4K5. What do you think we need to see from our killer Jolt here to pull it off?
You know, as the professor of the Rizonomics class, I gotta see him, well, quite frankly, riz up these survivors. He's just gotta find the downs. It's gotta be quick. You can see with this build, it's a lot of aggression, right? You got the Stabiffle, you got the Rapid Brutality, so you're gonna be collecting those hits, and you just want a 2-tap, really. But with the start, I mean, we talked about in the pregame tower, he needs a start that Jesus had on top of that, but also just even more aggression. And I don't think this build is enough out there. I mean, standard aggression is good, but you need something to pop at. You can't stop one gen from popping. Jolt's got to just find a miracle.
Yeah, and right off the bat, it's your local Jesus himself just going around Shaq, doing such a good job of denying even one tag to get this game going. Just playing this exactly how you need to with this kind of win con. And it's quite a sight to see. Jolt is actually forced to leave and is going over towards the gens that are corrupted. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, potentially an opportunity for the first tag onto Nuck. Nuck having a split bust, so not the best opportunity to deny that. Tag, though, does come through from Jolt. He's going to have Shaq to play with and your local Jesus to potentially have a body block. But you got to think in the meantime, these survivors might be cranking gens over there at the 4 or something further in the top side. Nuck's kind of cornered here, though. No filler to play. Nope, this is a filler. So it does get the pre-drop. And there it is. That's a gen for Tycon. Jolt now on the back foot, just praying to get the Tycon of 4K4.
Dude, Nuke is playing this extremely well, going to be just looping around this drop pallet and winning every 50-50. Jolt just a little bit early on all these double backs, forced to kick the pallet, and that's going to get a little bit of distance for Nuke, but Jolt is just going to try to get the madness flowing. And a bit of a read here onto... Ooh, very...
Another fake!
Nuke is just surprising me over and over just how well he's playing these. That's going to be a run over here towards this edge map palette. A little bit of a shock fake. And that's going to get a lot of distance for Nuke back towards the palette. Just playing this so well. Going to be going for the stun.
No way.
Gets the stun.
Unreal.
Nuke is just popping off.
They hug that structure so well, and the chase is still on into this jungle gym tile. Jolt not going to be able to deny the window vault. And yep, there's the win con. Jolt just, unfortunately, a little bit outmatched here in terms of survivor strength. I mean, look, when your win con is this generous on survivor, you really have a lot of options of what you can do, and I think the survivors are having a bit of fun this match.
Yeah, Nuke is especially having a good time, just going to be using every resource on the map. And it's like I said earlier, like, Doctor can potentially have chases that last the whole game, and Nuke is trying to prove me right, which I appreciate greatly. Just doing such a good job going around these obstacles, and is actually just going to die over here in the comp corner, hugging the rock for some extra time and getting some reads off onto Jolt at the same time. Going to be going down, but that is going to be the first hook at 2 generators.
Wow. Nuck, the 50-50 enjoyer, just absolutely brought the Quandale Dingle Glizzy Riz to the Jolt here, and just unfortunately, we can see it didn't really quite work out for him. I mean, What can you ask? I mean, you need a killer that has the potential to get downs fast enough for a 4K5, but at the same time, you're on Wretched Shop, you're Doctor. The survivors have good fillers, they have good distance, and for me, it just all starts with that early game. I mean, you can see a stark difference in the survivors for this game where they started their chases with a lot of distance, right? They were pre-running to strong structures, they knew what they were looping, they had enough time to get those pre-drops, and that's the difference in why Doctor can be so weak and just not a threatening killer.
Yeah, just buying so much time here. That's going to be your local Jesus. Kind of caught out here. Going to be getting that tag and an injury and then running straight up towards the top side of the map away from the gens that are being worked on. Just going to be playing around this pallet. Very good drop coming through. And just going to be playing distance around this obstacle. And Jolt has not had too much success so far on reading these 50s from the survivors, but it does look like he might get the jump off. Oh no! Your local Jesus gets another fake, and it's just going around and around, getting the reads left and right, playing this extremely well. Going to force a break yet again.
I didn't even realize, but if you see he's got the iridescent, is that king or queen? Either way, I can see why the shocks aren't coming out that often, because when you don't have that green range add-on to kind of deny, and there's the final gen, I mean, we might see a 4-stage here, which is just ridiculous. The survivors for gamblers are playing lights out here. Jolt just trying to win a 50-50, but just cannot. I mean, Jolt, do not go to a casino. You will lose a lot of your savings. Let's just save it for another day. Maybe it's not your lucky day. On the flip side,
playing against gamblers, and your local Jesus is gambling with these 50-50s for sure. Going to be running straight back over here. A shock trying to come through, and the body blocks are being set up. They want to take it.
One stage. No way.
Oh, he's giving
and
up.
That's it. Wow.
The survivors gave up the Hawk Tua to the killer there. And that's going to be the game. 2-0 for Gambler. Fantastic play, I must say.
Yeah, Gamblers absolutely doing right. You can see, they certainly love gambling. They were winning a lot of those 50-50s. So, unfortunate loss for Jolt and the boys on Valence, but we always love seeing teams come out here and play, and we'd love to see them come and play again. But, you can't always win them all. All you can do is just pack up from your loss and try and learn from it. I've been Georgie, I've been Tyro, or I've been casting with Tyro. I'm not Tyro. I've been Georgie. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back with another night of Scrim Nights for another night. We'll
love you.
Yeah, well, I think that's gonna be it for that. I think that's the last set. You got any last words, Tyro?
Not really. How do you do that? Like,
I think that's it. So yeah, a good Doctor set from Gambler is going to wrap us up. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you later.